What if I told you that by the end of this video, you'd discover every epic twist, heartbreaking sacrifice, and mind-blowing battle in Ultimate Spider-Man? If you watch this video from start to finish, you'll finally understand how a clumsy teenage outcast became the hero who saved the multiverse. Now, let's get to the video without further ado. Most people know the basics. Peter Parker, the nerdy kid with a knack for science, gets bitten by a radioactive spider and becomes Spider-Man. But in 2012, Disney XD flipped the script with Ultimate Spider-Man. They gave us a Peter Parker who wasn't just learning the ropes, but was already swinging through New York City, chaotic, clumsy, and more relatable than ever. This isn't your typical Spider-Man origin. It's a roller coaster of high-stakes missions, interdimensional mayhem, and symbiote showdowns. So sit back and enjoy the ride as we break down the entire epic journey of Ultimate Spider-Man. Let's go. Spider-Man might be a superhero, but even heroes need help sometimes, especially when they're leaving a trail of destruction across the city. Peter's messy hero work catches the attention of Nick Fury. The one-eyed director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury sees potential and offers Peter a deal. Join S.H.I.E.L.D., get proper training, and stop turning New York into a demolition site. Peter's response? I work alone. Classic Parker pride? Of course, karma comes swinging back. The villain he fought earlier planted a tracker on him, and soon every bad guy in the city shows up at Peter's doorstep. With his secret identity almost exposed and Aunt May in danger, Peter realizes maybe Fury had a point. After some mayhem, he accepts Fury's offer and officially becomes a S.H.I.E.L.D. recruit. Peter doesn't just get a fancy S.H.I.E.L.D. badge, he gets a team. Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Nova, and White Tiger. All teenagers, all powerful, and all with personalities big enough to make Peter look like the responsible one. Together, they take on training drills and missions, including an encounter with Dr. Doom's Doombots. Doom manages to steal their power profiles, which is probably going to bite them later. Meanwhile, Norman Osborn, the textbook definition of bad dad, has teamed up with Dr. Otto Octavius, aka Doc Ock. Their big plan? Create an army of spider-powered super soldiers, but instead they end up creating something much worse: Venom. And trust me, things are just getting started. Before we continue with the video and dive deeper into the chaos that Venom brings to Peter's life, I want to ask for your help. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of the month, so if you're enjoying the story so far, please hit that subscribe button and help me out. Alright, let's get back to it, because Venom is about to make Spider-Man's life a living nightmare. Venom escapes and immediately sets its sights on Spider-Man. This symbiote is a gooey nightmare, obsessed with Peter like a fan who didn't get an autograph at Comic-Con. After a wild showdown, Spidey manages to fend off the creature. Fury rewards him with the shiny iron spider suit, and life goes back to semi-normal. Until Venom returns, now bonded with Harry Osborn. Harry's desperate for his dad's approval, and the symbiote exploits that. Peter fights to free his friend, and after an emotional battle, he succeeds. But a tiny piece of Venom survives, because, of course, it does. While Peter's dealing with teenage drama, Norman Osborn is busy playing mad scientist. He injects himself with a serum, transforming into the Green Goblin. His mission? Capture Spider-Man, steal his DNA, and create his own super army. Peter faces off with the Goblin in a chaotic, explosion-filled showdown. Norman tries to rebond Harry with the Venom symbiote, but Peter manages to stop him, electrocuting Norman and freeing Harry. The Goblin escapes, of course. Villains always have a getaway plan. After the Goblin's rampage, the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier is trashed. With nowhere to stay, Peter's teammates crash at Aunt May's house. Imagine explaining that at breakfast. But the team grows closer, sharing personal stories of loss and sacrifice. White Tiger opens up about her father's death, saying, "Now it's my job to protect it and keep the tiger side calm." While the team bonds, Doc Ock isn't taking a vacation. He's building a supervillain dream team, the Sinister Six: Electro, Beetle, Rhino, Lizard, Kraven, and Ock himself. Their mission: take down Spider-Man for good. The battle intensifies, and Peter learns that the symbiote hasn't given up yet. Venom returns, this time pushing Harry into a violent rage. Harry attacks his father's lab, forcing Peter to stop him again. The team eventually secures a Venom sample and develops a cure, freeing Harry once and for all. But the damage is done. Harry's hospitalized, and Norman secretly takes a blood sample from his son. Because apparently parenting lessons are not part of the Osborn family handbook, Peter barely has time to catch his breath before the Green Goblin strikes again. He kidnaps Spider-Man and injects him with the Carnage symbiote. Carnage is like Venom's unhinged cousin, more dangerous, more chaotic. Peter resists and absorbs the symbiote, but now Harry, with his own issues unresolved, gains control of Venom once more. He sets his sights on his father, determined to end Norman's twisted plans once and for all. In a wild three-way fight, Peter versus Harry versus Norman, Spider-Man manages to separate father and son. He convinces Harry not to kill Norman, saying revenge won't fix their broken relationship. The battle ends with the Goblin escaping, Harry being contained, and Peter realizing this war is far from over. With the Sinister Six regrouping and the Goblin on the loose, Peter knows one thing. The craziest chapters of his story are yet to come. After another chapter of the Osborn family soap opera, a drama more intense than a reality TV reunion, Peter finds himself on more random adventures alongside Iron Man, Deadpool, and other heroes. But the fun doesn't last long. The main mission is back on the radar. Capture Norman Osborn and ship him off to a prison on the moon. Simple, right? Yeah, except Peter's not feeling it. Instead of locking Norman away, he wants to find a cure. And to do that, he needs help from someone. Let's say questionable. I am the only person with the mental capacity to grasp the true nature of his goblin problem, this mystery ally proclaims. And yeah, you don't need to be a genius to know this is going to go sideways. While Peter's trying to play scientist, Venom makes a grand comeback for what feels like the 35th time. This time, the symbiote is under Green Goblin's control. Spider-Man suits up in the Iron Spider armor, ready to rumble. Meanwhile, Green Goblin busts Dr. Octopus out of prison because apparently villains can't stay locked up for more than 5 minutes. With the situation spiraling out of control, Spider-Man does the unthinkable. He teams up with Doc Ock. Yep, the villain with the mechanical spaghetti arms becomes his temporary ally against the Goblin. Chaos ensues, webbing flies, and after an epic battle, Ock creates a serum that turns Norman Osborn back into his normal, power-hungry human self. But Venom? Stronger than ever. Peter barely manages to defeat the symbiote. And Doc Ock? Oh, he escapes. Again. Spider-Man should really invest in villain-proof handcuffs. With the Goblin threat neutralized, for now, Norman Osborn has a surprising idea. Join forces with Spider-Man. He suits up as the Iron Patriot and goes full-on hero mode, helping Spidey take on escaped villains and, allegedly, trying to be a better dad to Harry. But while Norman's playing hero, Doc Ock is busy reassembling the Sinister Six with a tech upgrade courtesy of Osborn Labs. The new Sinister Six returns with a vengeance, now stronger, shinier, and even more annoying. Just as they're about to expose Spider-Man's secret identity to the world, Iron Patriot swoops in and saves the day. The good news? The villains are stopped. The bad news? Norman gets injured, which gives Doc Ock the perfect opportunity to inject him with Goblin serum again. Cue the green skin, wild laughter, and another round of Spider-Man versus the Green Goblin. This time, Norman doesn't stop at causing chaos. He infects Peter's entire team with his goblin madness, turning his allies into snarling goblin monsters. Peter races against time, cooks up a cure, and manages to save his friends before the goblin can release his latest brainchild, a serum designed to turn the entire city into goblins. After another web-slinging showdown, Peter sinks the goblin's evil serum into the ocean, neutralizing the threat, for now. After the goblin's defeat, S.H.I.E.L.D. starts recruiting new heroes, and guess who joins the squad? Flash Thompson. Yeah, the same Flash who made Peter's school life miserable. But here's the twist. Flash now wields the Venom symbiote. He becomes Agent Venom. Same jerk attitude, but now with alien goo and a heroic streak. Turns out Flash can control the symbiote better than anyone before him. Just when things start calming down, the Green Goblin pulls a classic prison break move. Again. Seriously, who's running these prisons? The Goblin's new plan is his most ambitious yet. Use a multiverse-hopping device to steal the DNA of other Spider-Men and build a spider army. And so begins Spider-Man's trip through the Spider-Verse. Peter teams up with Spider-Noir, Spider-Ham, yes, a talking pig in a mask, Spider-Knight, Spider-Man 2099, and, of course, Miles Morales. The team tracks down the Goblin across dimensions, facing vampire overlords, pirate spiders, and cowboy Spider-Men with tragic backstories. Eventually, Electro shows up with a surprise hero moment, unleashing a blast powerful enough to fry the Goblin. The multiverse is saved, the Spider People go home, and Norman Osborn is left with a scrambled brain and no memory of his evil deeds. Just when Peter thinks he can catch his breath, Hydra steps in. Led by the evil genius Arnim Zola, Hydra plans to convert the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier into a Hydra base using nanotech. During the chaos, Peter gets thrown into the ocean, and Nick Fury is critically injured. Things look grim until a mysterious figure drags Peter from the water. "Who are you?" Peter gasps. "I'm the guy that pulled you from the bottom of the bay. You're welcome," the stranger says. Meet Scarlet Spider, a brooding, hoodie-wearing wildcard with major trust issues. Scarlet joins the team just in time for Doc Ock's next scheme. Unleash Anti-Venom, a symbiote designed to destroy all other symbiotes. Flash Thompson, aka Agent Venom, ends up in a brutal fight with Anti-Venom, who nearly rips the Venom symbiote from his body. Flash barely escapes with his life. Meanwhile, Peter realizes there's a leak in the team. Hydra seems to know their every move. After some web-slinging detective work, he makes a horrifying discovery. Scarlet Spider is the mole. Turns out Doc Ock created Scarlet as a clone of Peter, designed to spy on the team. In true Spidey fashion, Peter tries to get through to Scarlet, appealing to his humanity. And it works, sort of. When Doc Ock kidnaps Aunt May and threatens to blow up the city, Scarlet Spider turns on his creator. He helps Spider-Man save May, but sacrifices himself in the process, steering Ock's explosive ship into the ocean. Peter is devastated, but there's no time to grieve. Hydra has one last symbiote trick up its sleeve: Carnage. Carnage spreads through the city like a plague, infecting heroes and civilians alike. The Avengers fall. The Hulk gets taken over. Half of New York turns into red, tentacled rage monsters. In desperation, Peter turns to Harry Osborn, who still holds traces of the anti-Venom symbiote. Harry hesitates. He's angry, hurt, and tired of being used by everyone around him. But when Peter unmasks and reveals his identity, Harry finds the strength to act. He uses the last of Anti-Venom's power to destroy Carnage, saving the city, but losing his symbiote and his abilities in the process. Carnage is gone, but the battle isn't over. Arnim Zola, Doc Ock, and Hydra are still out there, plotting their next move. And Spider-Man? He's bruised, exhausted, and about to face his greatest challenge yet. The heroes attempt to destroy Carnage with a massive explosion, but this red menace is built different. The blast scatters his fragments across New York like a slimy confetti bomb, infecting half the city's population, including heavy hitters like the Avengers and even the Hulk. Peter's trainee squad manages to save the Hulk, but it's clear they need an ace in the hole. Enter Harry Osborn, the host of Anti-Venom. Here's the catch. Anti-Venom has a one-track mind: destroy all symbiotes, including Venom. Carnage may be tearing the city apart, but Anti-Venom just wants to go after Peter's pal, Flash Thompson. Spider-Man hatches a desperate plan. Bring Anti-Venom to Carnage's hideout and let him go wild. In a heart-stopping moment, Anti-Venom finally chooses to prioritize destroying Carnage over his vendetta against Venom. He unleashes every ounce of his power, but it's not enough. In a last-ditch move, Peter pulls off his mask, looks Harry in the eyes, and drops the ultimate truth bomb. It's me, Peter, and I need you. That gives Harry the motivation to dig deep and deliver one last surge of power, obliterating Carnage and his tower. The city is saved, but Anti-Venom is consumed in the process. But Carnage is like that annoying guest who doesn't get the hint. The symbiote pulls itself back together and makes a beeline for Peter's high school, merging with Morbius. Before Peter can react, Morbius knocks him out cold and hauls him off to a Hydra base. There, Morbius monologues about his genius plan: load missiles with Carnage's symbiote goo and blast them across the world, turning everyone into mind-controlled monsters. Sounds lovely. Thankfully, Peter's team storms the base just in time and shuts down Hydra's twisted fireworks show. New York's saved, again. But the multiverse? Not so much. The Siege Perilous, an artifact that keeps the multiverse stable, has been shattered. If Peter and Miles Morales can't recover its fragments, reality itself might implode. The duo hops through dimensions like a couple of cosmic tourists. In Vampire World, they fight the Lizard King, who uses one fragment to blot out the sun. One daylight reset later, they're off to Pirate World, where Pirate Spider swings around with a cutlass and some questionable pirate slang. Next, it's off to the Wild West, where Cowboy Spider gets emotional reuniting with his still-alive Uncle Ben. Noir World follows, featuring a brooding Spider Noir mourning his late wife until Peter reminds him that Spider-Men don't give up. Just as they collect the last piece, Wolf Spider shows up. Surprise! He's an evil alternate version of Peter Parker who wants to absorb every Spider-Man's power and rule the multiverse. He kidnaps Miles' mom to get the last fragment, but underestimates the never mess with someone's mom rule. Miles and Peter save her, but Wolf Spider escapes with the completed artifact. With the Siege Perilous's power, Wolf Spider drains the abilities of every Spider person. Peter lets himself get captured, triggers a hidden failsafe, and restores everyone's power. The multiversal Spider Smackdown ends with Wolf Spider defeated and reality saved. Again, back in New York, life almost returns to normal. Peter's prepping for graduation when, shocker, Doc Ock returns. This time, he's gone full mad scientist, enhancing his tentacles with nanotech. He kidnaps Aunt May and gives Peter an ultimatum: surrender his powers or lose her. Peter complies and is thrown into a shrinking prison cell with his team. Things look hopeless until Aunt May proves she's more than just cookies and concern. She slips Peter his old web shooters and reminds him, "You're Spider-Man, powers or no powers." Fueled by pure willpower and some classic web fluid, Peter breaks out, tracks Doc Ock to his lair, and finds the spider that originally bit him. Unfortunately, he's now immune to its venom. Just as Doc Ock unleashes his nanotech army, Norman Osborn shows up with a last-minute science hack, a DNA formula that reactivates Peter's spider abilities. With his powers restored, Peter goes full friendly neighborhood superhero on the Sinister Six. Doc Ock, desperate and unhinged, injects himself with a serum that turns him into a colossal, tentacle-wielding nightmare. Peter doesn't flinch. He uses every trick he's learned, teamwork, quick thinking, and a lot of webbing, to shut Ock down for good. Ock, finally defeated, has a moment of clarity. He helps Peter disable the nanotech force field and free the other heroes. The city is safe. Aunt May is safe. And Spider-Man? He finally gets to attend his graduation. The cap goes on. The diploma is handed over. Peter Parker walks across the stage not just as a kid from Queens, but as a hero who's saved worlds. So there you have it, the ultimate Spider-Man saga. Explosions, heartbreak, evil clones, goblins galore, and more symbiote drama than anyone asked for. What was your favorite moment? Let us know in the comments. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Great power might come with great responsibility, but great content? That comes with a subscribe button. See you next time.